we've had other male survivors on, there's so many ideas about how abuse just happens to girls and women, but it really is something that can happen to anyone. And I'm just thinking about you as a little child, as a little boy, and then also knowing that as you have gone through your healing journey, grown up, and are now facing this, you also have boys. And I'm wondering,
Mm.
how do you have conversations with your children about safety and about acceptance of
Mm.
themselves and not hiding in shame when you yourself had a childhood where there was so much of that kind of
Mm.
inside of you for so long?
Sure. That's a really great thought process of how does one do that? And it's through the help of therapy that enables us to process events first before we can ever speak to our loved ones or family. And it's also very healthy at the right time and place when you feel safe and you feel the need then to discuss that with those that you love and that trust you and that you trust, which is very difficult to do. And now having to communicate that to my children, that was the first thing that my wife had asked me is that, Brandon, when your book comes out, they're going to read it. And my response was, I hope they do, because of the fact that there is so much that they need to know. And my job as a parent, no longer do I need to hide that part of my life. Because if I want my children to grow up and be safe, I need to teach them what the road signs are, the warning signs, and the events that I've gone through so that they don't learn that firsthand from somebody else, because that's how I learned it. And I want to help prevent that. So even at an early age when they were babies, we taught the simple principles of what, you know, safe touch is to a not safe touch, to someone who is safe, someone who is unsafe. And we would, at a young age, when they were babies, we would talk about that all the time to help firm that in their brain of what is a safe person, what is a safe touch, and what is not, because they're two very different things. And I never knew that there were, I never knew that there was a difference. I thought they were one and the same. And now, which is interesting that you bring up that question, because on my walk this morning, I was talking to a dear friend who had actually helped spark me to write my book. And he asked about my kids, and it was so funny because I told him about a story of just recently. My oldest had asked me that just this past week. He said, Dad, I've known that you've always talked about safe touch and abuse. And he just looked at me, and he's 12, and he just said, Did that happen to you? And I looked right at him, and that's the pivotal point of an abuse survivor is, do I tell them? What do I tell them? Should I not tell them? The answer is you need to do what's best for you in that moment. There's no one way to describe how you should forecast an event and how you should operate. You have to do that based upon what your work has enabled you to do with the help of your therapist. So for me, I felt compelled to tell him, but that didn't mean that I had to describe all the events. So my answer to him was, yes, son, that did happen to me. But let's talk about that at a later time. For now, let me answer your question. And he just asked me, he continued, okay, then dad, you've talked about this for a long time. Why is this important for me to know? And then I would explain to him because number one, there's bad people. That's just simply it. There's bad people that we need to be protected from. Why is that so important? Let's talk about the why. Let's talk about the damaging effects of what it can do on a person. Because and I went into just saying to him that your skin is your boundary, and no one has the right to perpetrate or penetrate your boundary unless you allow them. And your body is yours, and what is private to you remains private. It is not to be shared or unlocked to anybody. And he honestly just got it right off the bat. And what I've come to understand through my own recovery is that we live our lives as abuse survivors. We live our lives in the metaphor as a zipper. Our zippers, the healthy zipper should be on the inside, where only you have access to unzip or zip up parts of you that you feel safe. That's your control, that is within your power. But for those who have been abused, the zipper is faced on the outside, where it gives the perpetrator the access to get what they want. And the problem with us being abused is that when the perpetrator, the abuser, when they zip up our damage and our violation, the most incriminating thing that they do is that they put a padlock on top of that zipper. So then not only can we not unzip, but we're also locked down and we can't speak. And therefore, as children, our voices are stolen forever. And we live our lives for many years as older adults with that padlock, not knowing that all we have to do is have the help of someone professionally that can grab any key. And actually, there's no key at all. They can just simply unslip that lock. And in a healthy way, with the help of your therapist, you can together unzip and you can begin to heal those damaged parts that you never wanted to be visible to anyone. And that is, as a parent, no one should have a right over your body or over your child's body. And the more that we can protect our children to let them know the realities that of this is your body and no one has a right to access what they want. It gives them power is what it does. It enables them to know that they have a choice, that they have a voice, and no one can steal and take that away from them.